Hello, Internet! My name is Gabe, this is my best friend and roommate Ryan, and we are Spoiler Alert News. Now, before we get started on our inaugural
That word.
review, we're just going to give a little bit of background information about ourselves before we jump into things. So, like I said, my name is Gabe, and we are both sophomores at Asbury University, a little institution in Wilmore, Kentucky. I'm a media communications student with a film emphasis, so this really kind of fits into my
Yeah.
niche.
Yes.
I love watching movies. I love making movies. I love talking with other people about movies. So for me, this is really just a way to share my opinion with more people than I ever have been able to before. And if you all post in the comments below, then you all can share your opinions, and possibly we can even reply back.
Yep.
So that's a little about me and Ryan.
Okay. My name's Ryan, as Gabe has stated, and he is my best friend in the whole world. And basically, I'm an art education major with an emphasis in graphic design. So doing this, I am able to get my opinions on the design of the movie. I enjoy graphic design, especially video games, which, quick tidbit, once we get this up and running,
We're gonna split. We're gonna
split
have
it.
our own website. We'll split it into two parts: one video game portion.
I'll
one
do the
movie.
video games and he'll be doing the movies.
Yeah.
And we'll still get together to do this, what we're doing now, honest reviews, and get together and have some fun with antics eventually.
Mhm.
So that's us in a nutshell, and
Let's get started with this first review.
why don't we do some technical stuff so that they understand, like, spoilers?
You go ahead and talk about
Okay. Basically, we're called Spoiler Alert, but shocker, we're not going to try and get as many spoilers in here as possible.
that. We want this to be as spoiler-free as possible, so that you can, if you're interested in going to see a movie that we've already seen, then you can watch our review and see if there's going to be aspects that you like or don't like without having the movie ruined for you.
Yes. So we're going to keep it as spoiler-free, but if we do a spoiler, we will say spoiler.
And warn you, and possibly River Song might be popping in.
I'm not sure about that one yet. It's kind of hard to get in contact with the TARDIS, but that's okay.
Yeah.
And the other thing is, most of the stuff that we say, at least for this review, will be nitpicky. We're just warning you, so just have that out there right now.
And the reason most of this is nitpicky is because our first review is going to be on The Hunger Games. We got to go see the midnight premiere last night, and first impression of the movie, just wow.
Yes.
It was one of the best movie
man.
adaptations of a book that I've seen in the last 5, 6, 7 years. And that's saying a lot considering the Harry Potter movies that have come out, I think. But overall, I just have to say well done to the people who made this. Suzanne Collins for leaving her label on this as well.
It was very well done. I enjoyed it a lot too. We'll get into that when we get into the story about some of the things I have to say, but it was very well done. I enjoyed it. It was way better than what I had expected after seeing a few of the little tidbits that they were releasing on the internet from clips from the movie, which I hate, but that's beside the point. But it was very, very well done, enjoyable, and I don't see anything wrong with it. I mean, other than what we will mention, but it was really, really well done.
Okay, so first off, let's talk about story. Now, when it comes to the story, they did, I think, like compared to other other movie adaptations of late, they did a fantastic job of keeping all of the important information that you needed to know from the books in the movies. Now, there were certain instances where if you were familiar with the books, you can tell that they had to add a scene or add in a few lines of dialogue to explain something that Katniss already knows in the books. But if you're not familiar with the movies, I think they're actually very helpful and it flows smoothly. Like, for instance, when the instance with the Tracker Jackers comes up in the arena, they inserted a scene of Caesar Flickerman talking with Templesmith as sort of like anchors or game show hosts about what was going on. And so if you're familiar with the books, it's pretty obvious that they inserted this scene so that they can explain how deadly and dangerous the Tracker Jackers are and how they fit into the story. But like I said, if you're not familiar with the books, it all flows very smoothly, and you're able to find out all the key information that you need to know.
See, even though story's your specialty, I was I was really pleased with it because when they did the promotions, they really promoted it as if you were going to be going to the games and
Going to watch the game.
Yeah, going to watch the games, and I was like, oh, after reading the book, I understand that because it'll appeal to those who read the books. And when I saw the movie, it started out basically how the books did and all that. But when it got up to the games, it really did feel like you were watching the games.
They inserted a lot. They inserted a lot of scenes, like background or behind the scenes sort of things. Like a lot of the thing, for those of you who are familiar with the books, a lot of the stuff that Katniss was guessing about or thinking about based on like her interactions with Haymitch via this little silver parachutes, a lot of the things that Katniss guessed was happening, they show a lot of that happening. And so it doesn't distract from the storyline at all. Like I said, it was... Unless you're familiar with the books, it flows really smoothly.
It was really nice because getting that background information. Now, it wasn't like watching a football game because they had behind the scenes, like how...
They have Seneca Crane inside the directing booth, for instance, working with the people who are controlling the various obstacles.
That was really nice. I enjoyed that because, like I said, I felt like I was watching the games. Like, I felt like I was rooting for whichever district I wanted to win. Now... If you've ever seen, you know which district wins, and we're not going to spoil that for you. But I really, really did feel like I was at the games.
And they also did the same sort of thing. Like I said, inserting a sequences of Caesar Flickerman acting as sort of the host. Watching things that were going on and commenting on it. It really as if it were a sporting event or a game show, which is all it was to the people of the capital in the book. So I really like what they did with that.
It was perfect.
There were a couple characters that they cut out, but those characters really for the purposes of this movie weren't that major, weren't quite necessary. Like they took out. Well, we'll talk about that more during the characters segment.
I'm just gonna say I was a little upset about that because I'm gonna mention this during the story segment because I feel like it was important to the story. But that's me personally.
Yeah.
Like Madge. I never get that right. Anyway, Madge. I felt like that was important for emotional pounding in the books, and so I felt like they needed her. But I mean, after watching it, I felt like it was okay.
It all flows smoothly for the purposes of the movie.
But I'm only going to nitpick about that in the story because I feel like for me it was something that should have been important to the story, or especially when they make or when they make hopefully make the next 2 books. And so I mean I felt it was important. I mean I'm only the second, so we'll see how it goes. Maybe I'll change my mind, but for now I have to nitpick about that.
So they cut out a few characters and inserted a few little extra scenes to show to explain important information, like I said, that Katniss already knew in her head. Because when you read the book, if you're not familiar with the books are written from a first-person point of Katniss's point of view. So everything that she knows, you know. So because they had to make the change from a first-person book point of view to the third-person omniscient view of a movie, then they do have to be some changes. And so I feel like they did a relatively good job with those changes.
They did great. Like, for the storyline, if you read the books and then you watch the movies, in some ways, the movie's kind of a complement to the books.
Yeah.
It's not really an exact replica of the book, which...
It's an adaptation. The key word is adaptation.
Yeah. So, it's a good adaptation, and it fills in some story and fills in some scenes that...
are implied.
Yeah, implied.
In the book.
Therefore, it worked. And
it worked.
I feel, in some ways, if you're a movie-going fan and a book fan, you have to see the movie and the book in conjunction.
Read the book first.
Yeah, read the book first.
If you can, read the book before you see the movie.
And it worked great in conjunction because, especially the final scene with Seneca Crane.
Yeah.
Won't say anything about that, but that was...
I like that.
Yeah, that was a nice addition because you do find out more about that. Spoiler, you do find a little bit about that, but it's implied in the second book. But showing it in the first made sense, and
it'll give mentioning it in the second book more of a punch.
Yeah, and so it'll give it a great leeway.
Yep.
And the ending was just a great leeway right into if they make a second one. So it was like,
And hopefully they will.
woo! It's like, here you go.
Second movie.
Although I don't know how I feel about. No, I liked that.
Yeah.
The ending. Like the ending. I liked how it transitioned in. So the ending, yeah.
Pretty good.
Was there
Okay.
any other story?
Nothing that I can think of right now. They did a great job of adapting it. So
what would you give it?
when it comes to the story adaptation, I would give it. I want to say 8.6. 8.6 and 0.7
Okay. I'm gonna give it.
out of 10.
Yeah, out of 10. Not 100. Maybe. No.
No.
No. I'm gonna give it probably 8.4 to 8.5.
Okay.
And you'll understand once we get into the design.